stop. Before you do anything else tonight, I need you to answer 7 questions honestly. Not for me, for yourself. Because what you're about to hear could be the most important 7 minutes you spend this entire year. I'm Dr. Will Graham. I've spent over 2 decades watching older adults lose their memory, their independence, and their quality of life to something that was building quietly for years before anyone caught it. And the most devastating part? In most cases, the warning signs were there. The body was sending signals. They just didn't know what to listen for. Tonight is different. Tonight I'm asking you directly. No lists, no waiting, just honest questions that you answer right now, in your own mind, as we go through them together. A study from Rush University tracked over 1,400 adults over 65 for more than a decade and found that those who identified and addressed early cognitive risk factors reduced their rate of brain decline by up to 53%. 53%. That is not a small number. That is the difference between a sharp mind at 80 and one that's struggling at 73. So let's begin. And I want you to be honest, not with me, with yourself. Question 1. When did you last learn something that genuinely frustrated you? Not something easy, not a new recipe you figured out in 20 minutes. I mean something that made you feel uncomfortable, uncertain, and slightly defeated before you started making progress. If you're struggling to remember the last time you felt that way, that's a warning sign. Here's why this matters. Your brain builds new neural connections through struggle, not comfort. Neurologists at the University of Edinburgh studied over 1,000 adults into their late 80s and found that those who regularly engaged in genuinely challenging new learning showed 47% slower brain shrinkage on MRI scans compared to those whose daily routines had become predictable and unstimulating. Your brain does not decline on a fixed schedule. It declines in proportion to how little you demand from it. Comfort is not rest for your brain. Comfort is atrophy in slow motion. If your honest answer to this question is, I can't remember, that changes starting tomorrow, not next week. Tomorrow, pick one thing that intimidates you slightly. A language, an instrument, a skill. Begin. Question 2. How many real conversations did you have this week? And I mean real. Not a television on in the background. Not a nod to a neighbor. I mean conversations where you were genuinely thinking, responding, laughing, disagreeing, or feeling something. Count them. Seriously. Count them right now. If the number is fewer than 5, your brain is being starved of one of its most essential nutrients. Brigham Young University analyzed data from over 3 million adults and found that chronic social isolation carries the same mortality risk as smoking 15 cigarettes every single day. And for your brain specifically, the National Institute on Aging found that loneliness accelerates cognitive decline by up to 64%. 64% faster brain decline from not having enough real conversation. That is not a lifestyle preference. That is a medical emergency that most people are living through without realizing it. One phone call does not count as a social life. One Sunday family dinner does not compensate for 6 days of silence. Your brain needs daily human engagement the way your body needs daily water. Without it, something important starts to wither. What is your number? And what are you going to do about it this week? Question 3. When you wake up in the morning, do you have a reason to get up? Not an obligation, not a routine, a reason, something that pulls you forward, something that makes today feel like it matters. Think carefully before you answer. Research from Rush University Medical Center followed over 1,000 older adults for 7 years and found that those with the highest sense of purpose had a 2.4 times lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. They also lived an average of 7 years longer than those who reported low purpose. 7 years. From meaning alone. Purpose is not retirement's enemy, but the absence of purpose absolutely is. When people stop working, they often lose the structure, the identity, and the daily sense of mattering that work quietly provided. And many never consciously rebuild it. If your honest answer to this question gave you pause, if you had to think harder than you expected, that discomfort is important information. Because purposelessness doesn't feel dramatic. It feels like a slightly flat morning, a day that passes without leaving a mark, and then another one, and then another one. And before you know it, years have passed in a comfortable, purposeless blur, and your brain has been declining through all of them. What is your reason to get up tomorrow? Name it, out loud if you have to, because unnamed purposes tend to stay unfulfilled. Question 4. How is your sleep, really? Not what you tell your doctor, not the optimistic version, the real version. Are you waking 2 or 3 times a night? Are you lying in bed for an hour before falling asleep? Are you waking at 4 a.m. with your mind already racing? A study from UC Berkeley found that adults over 70 with disrupted sleep showed a 68% higher accumulation of amyloid plaques in their brains, the same plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. And Nature Aging research found that consistently sleeping fewer than 6 hours after 65 raised the risk of multiple simultaneous chronic conditions by 30%. Your brain cleans itself at night. There is literally a system called the glymphatic system that flushes toxic waste products from your brain tissue during deep sleep. When your sleep is broken, that cleaning crew leaves the job unfinished every night, and the residue accumulates. Most people accept broken sleep as simply what aging feels like. It is not. It is a symptom. And in many cases, it is a treatable one. Sleep apnea, thyroid dysfunction, medication effects, pain, anxiety, all of these are specific, addressable causes of poor sleep that deserve investigation, not indefinite accommodation. If your honest answer to this question was uncomfortable, that discomfort belongs in your doctor's office, not in your bedroom being quietly managed with an extra pillow. Question 5. When did you last move your body with real intention? Not walking to the kitchen, not a gentle stroll around the block that barely raises your heart rate. I mean movement that was deliberate, sustained, and asked something real from your body. Mayo Clinic research links sarcopenia, the progressive muscle loss that accelerates after 65, to a 47% increased fall risk and a 53% higher likelihood of losing independence in basic daily tasks within 5 years. And muscle loss doesn't just happen to inactive people. It happens to anyone who isn't actively countering it with deliberate resistance-based movement. Twice a week. That is all the research consistently requires to maintain meaningful muscle function after 65, 20 to 30 minutes. Resistance bands, body weight exercises, light weights, not a gym membership, not an athletic transformation, just 2 sessions weekly of asking your muscles to work against something. If you cannot remember the last time you did this, your body is currently losing ground that gets progressively harder to reclaim with every passing month. The research on this is not ambiguous. Muscles that aren't regularly challenged in older adults don't maintain, they retreat. What are you doing this week? Name 2 days. Name them right now. Question 6. What did you eat today? And was there real protein in every meal? Not a question about clean eating or diet culture. A very specific clinical question about whether your aging muscles are getting the raw material they need to survive. After 65, your body needs 50 to 75% more dietary protein per pound of body weight than a healthy 30-year-old to maintain the same muscle mass. Yet research consistently shows most older adults eat far less protein than their bodies require, often because appetite decreases with age and carbohydrate-heavy foods feel easier. Think about what you ate today. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Was there 25 to 30 grams of quality protein at each meal? Eggs, fish, chicken, Greek yogurt, legumes? Or were your meals primarily bread, cereal, pasta, and crackers with protein as an afterthought? This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness, because the slow, quiet loss of muscle that leaves people unable to rise from the floor, unable to carry their groceries, unable to catch themselves when they stumble, that loss is happening meal by meal, day by day in people who have no idea their plate is working against them. Question 7. Are you drinking water strategically or just occasionally? Final question. And I want you to take it as seriously as the first 6. After 70, your kidneys lose approximately 40% of their filtering efficiency. Your thirst sensation becomes significantly blunted, meaning you can be seriously dehydrated without feeling thirsty. And chronic mild dehydration in older adults has been directly linked to increased fall risk, impaired short-term memory, and afternoon cognitive decline. Research from the European Journal of Nutrition found that older adults maintaining consistent daily hydration above 1.8 liters showed 29% fewer falls and significantly better short-term memory scores. Not from medication, not from supplements, from water. The habit that separates well-hydrated older adults from the rest is timing. 16 ounces first thing in the morning, before coffee, before breakfast, before anything. A small glass with every meal, one mid-afternoon. That structure alone can eliminate the chronic mild dehydration that most older adults are living with without knowing it. So, 7 questions. How did you do? Here is what I want you to take away tonight. None of these questions are about perfection. None of them are designed to make you feel inadequate. They are designed to give you information, real, honest, actionable information about where your daily life is either protecting your brain and body or quietly working against them. You do not need to fix all 7 tonight, but you need to be honest about which ones hit closest. And then you need to choose one, just one, and change something about it before this week is over. Because here is the truth that over 2 decades of clinical practice has shown me beyond any doubt. It is never too late to make a meaningful difference. Adults in their late 70s who begin resistance training build muscle. Adults in their 80s who find new purpose show measurable cognitive improvement. Adults at any age who fix their sleep, their protein, their hydration, and their social connection change the trajectory of what comes next. The brain and body you have right now are not done responding to the choices you make, not even close. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 7 questions gave you the most pause. I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next one. Take good care of yourself. You've earned that much.